Have you ever left a conversation feeling like you lost, even though you said everything you needed to? Have you ever felt a lump in your throat, as though speaking only distanced you from your true self? Perhaps you've been surrounded by people who speak over others, who interrupt, who mock, mistaking volume for strength, arrogance for confidence. And maybe deep down, you thought that staying silent meant weakness. That not defending yourself was surrender. That not reacting meant defeat. But what if that belief is an illusion? What if real strength has never been found in speaking, but in the stillness between words? Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the most complex and powerful minds in philosophy, challenged this illusion. He saw that the need to argue, to convince, to constantly explain, was a symptom of insecurity, not confidence. Those who truly know their value do not need to prove it. In a world that rewards loud voices and quick reactions, Nietzsche pointed to another path, the path of silence. But not passive silence, intentional silence. Strategic, grounded, and commanding. Silence, in this light, is not absence. It is presence. The illusion of debate. Modern culture teaches us that silence is weakness, and that every idea must be defended. That truth must be shouted, debated, argued for. But Nietzsche believed this need to argue reveals something fragile within us, the ego's fear of being questioned. Most people don't argue to find truth. They argue to protect their self-image. The louder they speak, the more they reveal their inner instability. In contrast, the one who does not react, who listens without needing to correct, is not disengaged. They are powerful. When you feel the need to justify yourself, you've already given away your power. You are seeking approval. You are still playing the game of validation. Nietzsche called this dynamic the morality of the herd, the mindset of those who seek to be accepted, liked, and praised. But this pursuit of approval is what keeps people small. True strength, he argued, is in not needing agreement. The strategic power of silence. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, the overman or superior self, is the ultimate representation of self-mastery. The Übermensch does not react. He does not play emotional games. He does not raise his voice. He watches. He waits. He chooses when to act, and when to remain still. His silence is not passive. It is precise. His gaze replaces his words. His calmness destabilizes others. His lack of reaction forces others to confront themselves. And in that space, they often unravel. They over-explain, expose their insecurity, and reveal their weaknesses, all because he remained quiet. This is the paradox. Silence can be louder than speech. It is tension. It is discipline. And it is deeply unsettling to those who rely on control. The psychology of silence. Why is silence so unsettling? Because it reflects. It is a mirror that shows people their own noise. When you don't react, others are forced to sit with their own words. And that creates discomfort, sometimes even panic. In psychology, silence in confrontational situations is often perceived as judgment. When someone expects resistance and receives none, they feel exposed. In that exposure, their fears surface. They begin to project, are they judging me? Did they see my weakness? Am I being ignored? The brain's fear centers activate, and the mind tries to fill the silence with assumptions. The manipulator loses their grip. The insecure feel uncertain. And in that psychological unraveling, power shifts from submission to mastery. But let's be honest, there is a darker side of silence. Some people are silent not out of power, but out of fear. They stay quiet to avoid conflict, to please others, to be liked. This is not the silence of mastery, it is the silence of submission. And Nietzsche had no respect for this kind of surrender. He saw it as a domesticated response to a world dominated by stronger wills. Many people convince themselves that avoiding conflict is maturity, that it's not worth it. But beneath this calm, they are slowly giving up their ground. If others are imposing on your space, your time, your boundaries, and you allow it because you don't want to make a scene, you are not being mature. You are being conditioned to disappear. This is what Nietzsche called the slave morality, a value system that rewards obedience, humility, and guilt, not out of strength, but out of necessity for survival. But the Übermensch is not bound by this system. He is not manipulated by guilt, fear, or the need for validation. His silence is not fearful. It is sovereign. Silence as a weapon. So how do you turn silence from a survival mechanism into a form of power? 1. Resist the urge to respond. When someone provokes you, silence is your armor. Every urge to reply, to explain, to prove, let it die. Because the moment you react, you show your hand. 2. Observe deeply. While others talk, listen, not to reply, but to gather. Look for contradictions. Insecurities. Listen as a strategist listens for weakness. 3. Let silence stretch. Most people rush to fill silence. But the longer it lasts, the more tension it builds. Let it grow. Let the other person feel the discomfort of their own noise. 4. Be unpredictable. When you don't react predictably, people lose their advantage. They become cautious, unsure, hesitant. You shift the dynamic, you become the one in control. But remember, this silence is not passive. It's not withdrawal. It's intention. You are not hiding. You are hunting, waiting, calculating. Final thoughts. The true will to power. Nietzsche's idea of the will to power isn't about dominating others, it's about mastering yourself. It's about reaching a place where you no longer need to perform for anyone, where your presence speaks louder than your words. Silence, when mastered, is not a lack. It is the final stage of strength. It does not beg to be understood. It does not fear rejection. It stands alone, and commands without a sound. So the next time you're drawn into an argument, remember, not every battle is worth fighting. Not every provocation deserves your energy. And sometimes, the most powerful response is no response at all. Silence is not weakness,